Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alfino. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Aline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our Order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Ascians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Ascian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to auracite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Ascian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Habrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Habrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Heidelin placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that she will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Heidelin did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
Oh, what if we had 2 pieces of white auracite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
'Twould seem more research is in order.
I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the auracite. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands. Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident at the Isle of Val. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the Isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the Isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the Dark Beings call the One True God. We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the Media Project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the Legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Vorissos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea. In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
Seven hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple, if you consider her services to Ben Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or Monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, why you must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, Monetarist scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! Team, purge this land of your sickness! Before the eyes of the 12, I swear it!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chambers shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The Monetarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the monetarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Uldar whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal Flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Uldar's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the monetarists with a rod to beat Rauban.
Eorzea can ill afford for the Immortal Flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Uldar.
The true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few. The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Uldar to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay, you jest.
My friends, it was for no other reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Rauban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves, for a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Uldar.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Uldar will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Rauban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.
We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. I believe the two of you have met.
We have. I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragon Star burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers. Not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Worm Lord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragon Star is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgard-Soma himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Garlean fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Ariange has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragon Star portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgard-Soma had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond our ken. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgard-Soma. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept? We knew you would not disappoint us. Now, if you would excuse me, I must return and assist the Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
To prepare for what, pray tell?
When a great worm roars, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
treadeth now upon my bones, and waketh me from slumber sweet. Remember, mortal, and fear me. By her gifts hast thou earned a moment's reprieve. Speak, mortal, and I shall listen. Guided by a star. My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn. Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive. Seven children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus. Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end. Trickery is thy shield. This frail, noble creature is not gifted, but chosen. Hearken to me, Hydaelyn. I remember, and I consent. Fear not, mortal. I shall not harm thee. Mayhap Thou thinkest me an oath breaker. Art mistaken. If thou comest to harm, it shall be by another's hand, not mine. I did but strip thee of thy mistress's feeble blessing. Thou didst profit much by her grace, but no more. The covenant binds me to thee. I shall watch, listen, and wait. Fight and struggle, if it be thy will. Man hath ever coveted that which lieth beyond his grasp. I drink of her body, and thence doth mine own find new life. When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth a beginning and an end.
My friend, I can scarce believe it. You confronted the Worm Lord and lived to tell the tale. I give thanks to Helone for your preservation. It is our sole cause for gladness. Your encounter with the Keeper of the Lake served to confirm our fears. A great worm has roared, and it makes little difference if it was one of the two in Eorzea or any other. The Dravanians are coming.
I am told that Ishgard has magical defenses against Dravanian attack, though I am not privy to their exact nature. Will they be enough to repel a massive force?
Ishgard has weathered countless assaults over centuries. This will be no different. And now that you have confirmed the threat, none can ignore the Lord Commander's calls for the wards to be strengthened. I dare not presume to speak for him, but I expect the Lord Commander would sing your praises. I must away, but we shall meet again soon.
Countless assaults weathered, and this will be no different? Why am I not convinced?
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the Void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beams, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute! Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white auracite cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lament port them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian's soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
That's the very problem we set out to solve. And I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's Sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scion's aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Ascians will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a Crystal Brave, you are yet a Scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thangred and Papalimo shall accompany you. Ida and Yashtola, In the meantime, I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Gallian threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white aurosite.
Thank you, Arianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
Hold on, I won't be a second. The beast seemed peckish, so I gave it a taste of my axe. I know, as Urianger never tires of reminding me. An axe ill becometh the hand of a scholar. What can I say? I like axes. To hear my mother tell it, I came into this world holding one. And it's not as if it stopped me picking up a quill, is it? I often think of the man who introduced me to the joys of learning. He's one of the reasons I decided to come to Eorzea. Him and my excruciatingly stiff childhood friend. Considering how unalike we are, it's a wonder we ever got on. The world's a strange old place, isn't it? Aye, that ought to do it. So far, so good. At these concentrations, it shouldn't matter too much if something goes awry. Just enough ether to make it interesting. Did you see that? The way the crystal glowed? The siphon works, I'm happy to say. With a few refinements, it should satisfy our appetite for ether, which just leaves the small matter of forging our blade. I'm not sure how to go about it just yet, but I swear to find a way. I'll put a blade in your hands if it's the last thing I do.
She senses me. A useful talent.
Hanassian, are they onto us?
By your brand, I see you are an Archon of Sharlayan. Keeper of knowledge. Seeker of truth. Meddler.
I don't know what the hell's you're saying, but I don't much like your tone.
Your instincts serve you well. But come, be not unsettled on my account. That lovely brow was not made for frowns. But I waste my breath. Let me direct my words to one who understands them. We meet at last, warrior of light. I am Nabriales. And you have long been a thorn in my side. I suffered the overweening presence of La Habrea that men might host the power of gods, only for you to undo my hard work.
Oh, bugger.
Do settle down. You must concede that I acted in self-defense. But what's this? I do not sense the blessing of light. Oh, dear. Could it be that frail Hydaelyn has forgotten her champion? This I did not foresee. Shorn of light as you are no longer a threat. And better yet, the seal is broken. Now is the time to claim the staff. With it in my grasp, I shall rise above them all and take my place at Lord Zodiac's right hand.
What did that bastard want with us? Nabriales, he calls himself. With charm like that, I'll bet he has maidens falling at his feet, unconscious. But this staff, you say just talking about it had the bastard grinning like a brat on his name day. Must be quite a staff. Oh, gods. He means Tupsimati, Master Louis Soir's staff. Minfilia's in danger. We have to get back to the Rising Stones.
You two!
So, you were able to divine my intent. What now, warrior of light? Ah, but that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull and quite incapable of barring my entry.
What do you mean?
You truly do not know? Then I suppose it is only right that I enlighten you. The blessing of light kept you and your fellow meddlers safe. It was that which prevented my kind from entering your domain. My kind, I say, though it had no power over the likes of Elidibus and La Habrea. Being of this world, they could come and go as they please, while I could only look on. But I need look no longer. Now that the seal is gone, I mean to act. Unlike the others, I am not given to waiting. I shall take that staff and bring about the next rejoining.
Rejoining? Then it was your doing. The Isle of Val, the scholars, all of it.
You will not harm her!
Why must you insist on forcing my hand? Did you learn nothing from our last meeting? Ah, but I forget. My words fall upon deaf ears.
The staff is but a broken relic, a memorial to the departed. What possible use could you have for it?
What use? You mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was you possessed? The staff Tupsimati, or rather the stone tablet it bears, is host to a great power. Together with the horn, it can be used to draw vast quantities of ether from its bearer's surroundings. How else do you think Louis Soir was able to invoke the power of the 12 without making them an offering of crystals? Summoning requires not only prayer, but a profusion of ether. Even a child knows that.
If I did not know before, you may be certain I do now. But above all, I know that we cannot allow the staff to fall into your hands. I will die before I let you take it.
Insufferable woman. I would happily end your miserable life here and now. Alas, Elidibus would never let me hear the end of it. Very well. If you will not part with the staff, I will take you too.
After them! Quickly! Before the rift closes! You're safe. Thank the 12.
You may have bested me this day, but what of the next? What of all the days to come? Remember, light no longer holds sway here. I may return whensoever I wish, again and again and again. Eventually, you will falter, and the staff will be mine. Until next time, scions.
There will be no next time. This is the end.
What trickery is this? No. No! Cannot! No!
Use Tube Samati to gather ether. Quickly, before he breaks free! Concentrate! Call to mind the time you struck down La Habrea with the Blade of Light. Why won't it work? Is it because we lack the blessing of light?
Damn it. So much ether. And it still isn't enough.
Fools! No mortal prison can contain me! I shall make you pay for your insolence!
Please, Mother Heidelin, hearken to our plea. Lend us your divine light. Why can you not hear us? Do our words no longer reach you?
If only we had a bit more ether.
Moonbreeder, what are you doing?
Master Louisoix, I understand now the choice you made. In death, there is life. Farewell, Urianger, you daft old coot.
Moonbreeder, no! You mustn't!
What? No! It cannot end! I am eternal! I am immortal!
Moonbreeder. She's gone. You did it, my friend. The Ascian is dead. This device is a legacy of Moonbreeder's toils and sacrifice. I shall hold on to it for safekeeping.
Minfilia, are you all right?
I am.
Oh, we were surveying northern Thanalan when we received the distress call. We returned as swiftly as we were able.
It seems you have everything in hand, however.
What happened here? Where is Moonbreeder?
She gave her life to temper the Blade of Light. I have no words.
Rather than await the inevitable, she took her fate into her own hands.
Does Urianger know?
My friend, there is something I must tell you.
I heard all, my lady. The moon sinketh, taking her leave of the heavens, yet her passing heraldeth the coming of a new day. Moonbreeder hath fulfilled her destiny, hath she not? Long ago, far across the seas in the Sharlayan motherland, Moonbreeder and I did study under the sage tutelage of Master Louis Soir. Full oft did he impress upon us that knowledge existeth to serve the greater good. This sentiment, however, was contrary to the nation's policy of neutrality, which censured intercedence in the affairs of foreign lands. In spite of vehement opposition, he founded the Circle of Knowing, and journeyed hitherto the heart of Eorzea. Through his noble sacrifice was the realm spared its doom. Yet this great soul, whom all should rightly have honored, was branded a pariah in his own land. His peers did accuse him of forsaking his duty as a man of learning, and of meddling in the course of history. When he left Sharlayan behind, Master Louis Soir gave no word to signal his intent to Moonbreeder. Close as they were, as master and disciple, she was deeply wounded by the sudden exclusion from his confidence. Above all, however, she was confused. Try as she might, she could ill comprehend her master's motive. The slanders that were heaped upon him after his passing served only to inflame the turmoil within her. For years upon end, she knew not what to believe. Torn as she was twixt the man whom she revered and the man who forsook her and his duty both.
The Louis Soir I knew would never forsake his duty, much less one of his own.
This I know full well, my lady. 'Twas not for want of love that Master Louis Soir hid his intent. He but desired that Moonbreeder discover her own path, free of the shadow of his influence. Long did I contemplate revealing the truth to her, and long did I hold my peace. After all, was it not Master Louis Soir's wish that she come to the truth unaided? I told myself it was, and resolved to let her suffer. Knowingly did I deny my friend the comfort she craved. And now she hath gone to her rest, with doubt still in her heart. Speakest thou in earnest? Did Moonbreeder truly come to understand Master Louis Soir's will before the end? The realization hath set her free. She may now find the peace which hath for so long eluded her. Oh, Moonbreeder, my dearest, how I shall miss thee.
Moonbreeder gave her life that we might possess the means to defeat the Ascians. Her sacrifice must not be in vain. Let us continue her work on the Blade of Ether and see it to completion.
My lady, I would mourn Moonbreeder in mine own way. I beg your permission to return to the Waking Sands.
Of course, my friend. Take all the time you require. We shall be here should you have need of us. Forgive me, Moonbreeder. Had I been quicker, or wiser, but I was not, and you paid the price. But you would not suffer us to wallow in our sorrow, would you? You would tell us to pick ourselves up and get on with it. And so we shall. We shall defend this realm and her people to the last.
Life for death, a fair exchange. Other bargains will be struck.
I'll never forget you, Moon. None of us will.
The song riseth to a crescendo.
Is that what I think it is?
Hello, can you hear me? We have received grave tidings from Ishgard. Pray return to the Rising Stones at once.
The sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. Only then will the cycle be broken. Brothers and sisters of the heavens, we raise our voices and join you in the chorus. The sinner's feeble magics are undone. Come, claim your retribution.
Alphino, it is good to see you. Tell me, what have you learned?
Pray summon the others. Everyone must hear my report.
So this was all but a taste of what's to come.
Indeed. The main host advances upon Ishgard as we speak.
Whose vaunted defenses have been nullified.
Shorn of its wards, the city will bear the full force of Nidhogg's fury.
All those people.
Alphino is right. The Dravanians cannot be allowed to prevail. If Ishgard falls, all of Eorzea will suffer the consequences.
Then you agree that we have no choice but to intervene. For the good of the realm, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn and the Crystal Bridge join the defense of Ishgard.
Let there be no ambiguity about what has been proposed. We would be directly intervening in the war. But if all here believe the cause to be just, then to war we shall go. The path we now embark upon is perilous, but I pray you will walk with us to the end. For those we have lost, for those we can yet save.
Then it is settled. I shall inform the Council of our intentions and request that they contribute their own forces to the defense of Ishgard.
We are well aware of Ishgard's dilemma, and we agree with your assessment.
Then I trust there are no objections to the Crystal Brave's intervention.
Uldar has not.
Gridania does not object.
The Crystal Braves are yours to command, Alphino. Do what you will. We shall pray for your success.
It was my hope that you would offer more substantial aid than prayer. I know it is within your means.
Do not presume that you have knowledge of our every concern. The Garleans and the Beast Tribes are but two of many. We are not in a position to contribute greatly to the defense of Ishgard, not when our own homes are still under siege.
We dare not leave our interests in Cartano undefended as well. Telegi Adalegi and his ilk would seize control of the territories in our absence.
The enemy is at their gates, and you would cower behind yours?
No one is cowering, boy. We will offer what support we can.
Aye, support. A handful of men and no more.
Would that we could commit more than a token force to this cause. Yet there are others to whom you might turn. The free companies ever want for work.
Ah, yes. The free companies. They're not like to turn you down.
I beg your pardon? You would entrust the survival of Ishgard to sell swords? Crises like these are the very reason why this alliance was formed. It is our duty to aid our fellow man.
My duty is to my country and my people. If you expect us to place the welfare of a foreign power above our own, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Lest you doubt, Limsa comes first, then the Alliance, and finally, circumstances permitting, Ishgard and the rest. If you cannot understand so simple a concept, then you have no place at this table.
Forgive me, Admiral. I was careless in my choice of words.
I suggest you assemble a party of elite adventurers, assuming you haven't already. Your fellows served us well during Operation Archon. I dare say they will do so again. If I may, Your Grace, I wish to propose a redistribution of forces. If we entrust the security of Uldar to the Brass Blades for a time, we can dispatch a larger force to Ishgard. Your Grace?
Yes. Yes, of course. Do what you will.
Is Her Grace not feeling well?
To the best of my knowledge, Her Grace is in perfect health.
I see. Carry on.